UFOs? Any UFOs? Did you ask about that?
Certainly asked about it.
And?
Can't tell you. Sorry.
Okay. All right, I'll take that as a yes. Because if there were none, you'd say there was none, right? You just played your hand. I thought you were a poker player. You just 100% showed your river card.
Feel free to think that.
Meow! Huples cat. Aliens. Are they real? They live amongst us? Who knows? Well, some people seem to think they do know.
Before you leave office, will you let us know if there's aliens? Because this is the only thing I really want to know. I want to know what's going on. Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
I know, it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question I want to know.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So you're saying you may declassify?
Oh.
You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that one, right? I'll have to think.
All right.
So President Trump doesn't have very long left, so hopefully he will tell us what's going on and the amazing things at Roswell. A lot of people have very clear views upon UFOs. One of the things, of course, is evidence, and evidence is an absolute key thing. So for a lot of people, evidence for over the years has been what they personally saw, and other people what they personally have seen and what they've heard from other people. But the whole UFO debate has always been framed in terms of little green men. It's always been seen to be kind of out there, kind of extremist, kind of crazy. So one of the craziest people on YouTube, of course, is DieBullFrog79. So this is just part of one of his videos where he discusses aliens.
Okay, this is tape 5. Hopefully no more interruptions. Hi, I'm your old pal, Uncle Al. A lot of people wonder about UFOs, men in black, aliens. The truth is, it's a little smoke and mirrors. Uncle Al knows the best about that. But you take off the dark glasses, you remove the hoods, comb back the crazy hair, and you got little Uncle Al. That's it. Alright, first thing, we're going to talk it logically. I have 2 notebooks. They're about 40 to 30 years old, my notebooks. And first thing, we have to clarify with people. People are stupid. People panic. We are going to talk about aliens. There is 176, you can write it down, aliens. We have one group of extra-dimensional aliens. That's not space aliens. Space aliens are 176. And we have trans-dimensional beings that came over to this side. 2, we've been invaded for almost a year by 2.5 billion of these trans-dimensional beings.
He's actually deeply committed to the belief that there are in fact aliens amongst us, and he has often mentioned them in his videos, amongst other great prepping tips and biting sarcasm, and also right-wing viewpoints. Of course, for many preppers, the face of alien invasion is Praxis Prepper's great first series he did a year ago on alien invasion, which he used to actually teach basic skills of prepping using an alien story backdrop, and it was quite fun.
Have you seen the news? Just tell me what the news story is. Don't be secretive. Okay, I'll check it later. Hey YouTube, this is Praxis Prepper. Today what I want to talk about is this new discovery of a near-Earth asteroid that may actually hit the planet Earth. And, what? Dude, did you see the video? Okay, now I'm kind of curious.
Are now saying on record that the object we're seeing in these video images is without question some sort of spacecraft. The key evidence of this, aside from the apparent visual image, is the fact that the unknown object is now confirmed to be decelerating as it approaches our planet. At this moment, NASA officials claim that the only 2 possibilities present are that this object was either built in secret by some group on Earth, or that it is truly from another world. If the latter, this would represent the first proof positive of the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial life, and NASA is stating that the notion that this craft may yet be discovered to have been human-built is highly unlikely.
Okay, so it's not a meteor, it's a spaceship. That's either better or worse. There's no mistaking it, though. That is a spaceship. Look at that.
And I do believe there is actually going to be Alien Invasion 2 coming soon, which should be well worth watching. So for me, I've really liked science fiction over the years, and I think there's some great science fiction stories out there and great films, if you can't read, science fiction based premises of aliens invading. There's been a ton of them, and they actually have quite interesting character studies of humanity in the face of alienism, which I think is fine. But the planet Earth itself is actually full of aliens. It's full of creatures that are completely different from us, that think, talk and act and live entirely differently from us. And that's one of the things I think you need to be interested in. If you're interested in aliens, you need to be interested in human life, and you also need to be interested in plant, animal and mineral and vegetable life on the planet Earth. But before I get into what most people want from this is titillation. We all like titillation, don't we? When I talk about the types of alien invasion that are either actually happening right now, according to some people, or may happen, and what that would actually mean for you, I'm going to say something. What does it matter? As an ant crawling around as part of my colony, does it matter to me that the elephant is wandering around trying to find some water to drink? Probably not, unless they stand on me. And if they stand on me, I can't really comprehend that that's an elephant, and the elephant doesn't even notice. That there is the problem with UFOs and UFO theories and hypotheses. It would be almost impossible for a creature or a species or a collaborative couple of species or more to get together to cross the distances of the universe to actually come and say hi. Hello, take me to your leader. Hopefully they won't come until the 22nd of January. Or maybe hopefully they won't come until another 4 years go by. So it's highly improbable that they will travel to meet us. It's highly improbable they'll be coming to see us every day or every week or every year. It's highly improbable. It's not that long since we crawled out the sea. It's not that long since we crawled out the trees. It's not that long since we figured out how to harness steam for energy. Well, I guess 160 years. But you've got to remember that the speed of light travels at the speed of light for a year to go that far. And our nearest star to us is about 4.7 years away, travelling at the speed of light. But the distance involved here are unimaginably immense. So maybe there is some thought to be taken when Die Bullfrog 79 actually says that they're not actually, well, he says there are aliens, intergalactic aliens here, but he also says that most of them, or the problematic ones, are interdimensional aliens. So this would be the multiverse theory, which is a theory, and like all theories, it's an interesting one, where every time I move, if I move differently, a different universe ripples away from me. So there's literally uncountable and infinite amount of Earths, with Huples Cat sitting here doing this, but using different words, saying different things. On some of those universes, Huples Cat is President of the United States. On some of those universes, Huples Cat's unemployed. On some of those universes, Huples Cat is dead. On some of those universes, Huples Cat is female. Get your head around that one. But there is increasing evidence that there is something going on that is actually related to the traditional viewpoint of objects that are made by humanity flying around our atmosphere. So let's have a look at them. And having looked at them, I'm going to use my large knowledge of science fiction to talk to you about why they would be coming here and why they wouldn't be coming here and what that would actually mean for you.
So I phoned him, and before I could even say hello, how are you, what's the weather like, he said every word is true and more. Those were his opening words. And he spent 20 minutes telling me the and more, within the limit of his oath. I guess it went as far as he could. And he said, and this was the most important thing he said during that period, was that there have been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and visitors from other star systems, period. No equivocation.
So that's Paul Hellyer, a former Canadian Minister of Defence and Minister of Transport, and he's extremely convincing. What he said is an American general told him there's absolutely been face-to-face communication with aliens and officials of the American government. Very convincing. He's certainly got the status to say something like this and for it to be listened to and taken at face value, but we always need to verify. So what does he say after this?
And so with that assurance and my own conviction based on what I already knew, I said I'll go to the meeting, and at the meeting I said that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead.
So we humans are funny. If we have a preset belief and we get confirmation of that belief from whatever source we get it from, it makes us 100% certain. Now, Paul Helly has never met any of the aliens. He's never seen any alien artifacts. He has seen no videos. He's seen no film. He's heard no tapes. What he has is verbal reports and written reports from pilots that have seen things in the sky and other people. But he is utterly convinced. So when he hears this confirmation, he takes the confirmation at face value. You absolutely should never do that.
And it's been reported in a couple interviews that you've mentioned there's a federation of alien species. Do all of the alien species kind of work together, or is there warring species that war with each other?
Well, I only know about the Galactic Federation, and I don't know much about it, so I shouldn't talk about it. But they are concerned about what's going on in the world, and they have been working through individuals. They'll pick out a few individuals and visit them, or talk to them telepathically, or send information to them by channeling. I have a very close friend who is writing his second book right now with channeling from a species called the Basitas. Very few people have heard of it. They have a deal that they won't interfere. But I think that there's also a loophole if things get bad enough that they would make exceptions, but we can't count on them. I mean, maybe we can count on them, but we shouldn't count on them, because they say, you clean up your act. You're in charge, it's your planet, and if it comes to a dead end, it will be because you let it or made it a dead end. Because it wasn't necessary, and you had everything going. It's one of the best planets. And
I wonder if you pick up on what he's saying here. What he's saying here, quite clearly, is biblical. What he's saying is, the earth is humans for us to do with as we wish, and it's a great and best place there is, and it's up to us to make sure it's beautiful. And the aliens, the Galactic Federation, God, supernatural deity, won't actually interfere unless things get so bad. They'll come down and they'll help out. He doesn't say this, but in biblical terms, they usually help out, or God usually helps out those who believed in them without the evidence.
Some breaking and potentially explosive news today, which is that the UFOs Commission, basically within the Pentagon, will be giving some findings and reportings to the Senate Intelligence Committee. This unit is inside the Office of Naval Intelligence. Now, Senator Marco Rubio saying that it's important for the public in order to find out more. But the real bombshell here is actually an interview in the New York Times by a man named Eric Davis. He's an astrophysicist who worked on the subcontractor and a consultant for that program since 2007. Now, Mr. Davis had this to say. He now works for Aerospace Corporation. He said he gave a classified briefing to the Defense Department agency as recently as March about retrievals from, quote, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. So,
what?
There you go.
That is crazy.
He said he gave classified briefings on retrieval of these unexplained objects to staff members of the Senate Armed Services Committee on October 21st, 2019, and to staff members of the Senate Intelligence Committee 2 days later.
That's fairly compelling. But there is more to this story, because the United States Navy have actually released information that is verifiable by eyeballs of unexplained flying objects near naval airjets in 2016. So this video has been out and about for the last 4 years, to be honest with you, on various platforms. But they just snuck it in one day. They just said, yeah, This was the video, and we have no clue what it is.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs. They call them unidentified aerial phenomena. The several videos they're talking about were recorded years ago by fighter pilots. Then in 2017, they were made public by the New York Times. More now from our Randy Kay.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Images of that rotating thing captured by U.S. Navy aircraft, sensors locking in on the target. Commander David Fravor saw it firsthand during a training mission, describing it like a 40-foot-long tic-tac, maneuvering rapidly and changing direction.
As we both looked out the right side of our airplane, we saw a disturbance in the water and a white object, oblong, pointing north.
The object was first sighted in 2004, then similar objects again in 2015. Footage of the sightings, declassified by the military, weren't made public until December 2017 by the New York Times and a group that...
Extremely abrupt, like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall. The ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically zero up towards about 12,000 feet and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
The Navy says it still doesn't know what the objects are, and officials aren't speculating. A Navy spokesman simply confirming to CNN the objects seen in the various clips are unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs.
The UFO reports were first investigated by a secret $22 million program, part of the Defense Department budget, that investigated reports of UFOs. The program has since been shut down, but it was run by a military intelligence official who told CNN they found compelling evidence that we, quote, may not be alone.
So let's be clear. It's okay to laugh at this sort of thing, and let's face it, it can be amusing. But the United States Navy have confirmed there's unidentified aerial phenomena. They've confirmed it, and they have had to release visual evidence. The pilot describes something that cannot exist by human action. China, Russia, America, nobody can build anything that can do that. It's actually would kill any human being inside it by the G-force. So it could be a remote drone, you might think, but even so, the power of the acceleration is absolutely beyond anything we have right now. So yes, the answer is there are unidentified aerial phenomena in the skies. They are rare and they're not often seen. This does not mean that you then leap to a galactic federation that is manipulating or helping humanity on Earth right now. But it seems that a lot of people have made that leap.
All right, moving on. Break out the theremin, because this next story is just begging for a spooky sci-fi background. After 30 years at the helm of the Israeli space security program, and after receiving 3 Israeli security awards, retired Israeli general and respected professor Chaim Eshed is now unveiling that yes, there are aliens among us, yes, Israel has made contact with them, and no, humanity is not ready for them. Also, before you start doubting his words, the 87-year-old Eshed was clear in his recent interview with Yediot Ahronot News that he's not talking about immigration, but rather about a galactic federation complete with an underground base on Mars, where there are American and alien representatives apparently present. He also explains that President Trump both knows about them and was on the verge of disclosing their existence, only to be persuaded not to by the Federation, in order to avoid mass hysteria and panic here on Earth. Apparently, humanity just still has a long way to grow before we can understand the gravity of their presence. The final question, however, is what do they want? But perhaps thankfully for us, Eshed says that it's essentially just to research and understand the fabric of the universe.
Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago, he did set up the Space Force as the 5th branch of the US Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense, and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request, and I wonder if they ever will.
course, if I was a cynic, I would say these stories are wishful thinking, wish fulfillment. Faced with really serious problems with the climate and the economy and a number of people on the planet, it is tempting to reach for God or reach for aliens or reach for whatever magical thing that can come and help us out and save us literally from ourselves. And that is the tenet, I think, of a lot of the belief in UFOs. But there's no question that there are UAPs. I have, in fact, seen one many, many years ago when I was 16 over Barrow-in-Furness in Cumbria. I saw an object that was probably about half a kilometre long. It was rectangular, it was silver, it was fairly featureless, and it very slowly hovered in the sky for quite some time on a very clear day, and then did some, again, very unexplained manoeuvres before accelerating out of view. At the time, I was actually training to be a Royal Air Force observer and was actually in the national finals for aircraft observation. So I'm telling you what I saw is what I saw. Was it a rip in the fabric of time? Was it aliens? Was it multidimensional beings? Who knows? But that's a long way to say that there's a galactic federation with Americans on Mars right now. There's a lot of stuff being said without really any evidence. But the point of it is, if you were very cynical, you could in fact claim that this is kind of a fabricated story based upon people's very real desire to believe in something, to create a massively expensive space force that's going to suck up trillions of taxpayers' dollars and funnel them to corporations over the next few years. One could argue that. One could also argue that the Space Force is misdirected. The Space Force aimed at stopping meteors coming down and obliterating life on Earth or large cities would be an absolutely wonderful thing, and I really wish they'd get on with that. But having a Space Force up there in tiny little spacecraft just to fire nuclear missiles very quickly at the Earth isn't something I'm particularly excited about. Stick around, there will be part 2. Part 2 I will talk about who's coming, have they come, does it matter, and what it would mean. In other words, what would be the experience for us? Obviously, the leaked reports have not created panic, and sadly haven't really created much interest in the general public. People really are fairly blasé. One could argue we're programmed by our entertainment over the years to actually not be that bothered by alien arrival or even alien invasion. We have more mundane concerns in the beginning of 2021. Toodles. This was a brand new Terry production 2020.